Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the RichBuddy live show. How's everybody going this morning? We are broadcasting live from Southern California. It is, the hell time is it here? 6 a.m. Bright and early. Cricket's still chirping. How's everybody going? Looks like we got a few heads joining us this early in the morning. Yeah, I'm doing these early morning live streams once in a while, so let's do it. 30 minutes. We got 28 minutes left. I invited the Rancher, so Rancher, if you're up, you got a link. Shoot on over. We're going to do a little, just a little talk here about the Rolex market. What did I call this stream? I don't remember. Rolex dominates. Rolex dominates the watch market. That's the topic for this 30-minute broadcast. Welcome, Rancher. How are you?
Pretty good. I was
you on these early morning shows.
Well, yeah. It's not early morning for you. It's just regular morning for me. But I was actually on my semi-automatic trying to do an espresso shot, and it's supposed to be for like 30 seconds. So I'm sitting there, 1001. Hey, wait a minute. What the hell am I doing? Chronograph time, baby.
Duh. There you go. Do you have a chronograph? You don't have a Daytona.
I got a 321.
Oh, you're going to wear it.
I got an offshore.
Oh,
that's a chronograph.
That's true.
Got a Mark II. I got a Flightmaster. But actually, what I had handy though was the Aramar Long Beach chronograph.
I remember you going over that before.
Still have it. Still think it's a great watch. And it's one of those things. Back in the day, I took a picture of it and posted it up, and people were looking and saying, "What is that? Is that F.P. Journe? What? Holy crap! Who made that one?" And literally, of course, it's the Seagull ST19 movement with 21 jewels. But what they did is they bought the rights to a Venus movement back in 1960.
Okay.
And to register, but I actually also took a couple of my old watchsmiths, my old gray hairs, who worked and still work that movement, and they were actually impressed.
How old's that watch?
Huh?
How old's that watch?
A couple years old. Aramar, what they did was they would interface with the Chinese for various watch companies, like Kickstarters and everyone else would say, "Hey, could you talk to your Chinese bozos and get this made?" And instead of doing interfacing for third parties and getting homage watches made, they just came up with their own design. It's actually quite usable. It's actually quite wearable. The only thing I don't like about it is I think they could have gotten the case a little thinner, because there is definitely some space between the movement and the case. And I wish they would have come out with instead of doing a homage-inspired watch design, they started fresh. But to me, it's usable. It's very usable, but it's just a little bit on the cold side. I wish they would have put. I think if they would have put just a little bit more work into the dial designing it, I think it would have been an ass kicker.
Let me be a little bit like Archie Luxury. this morning. Clivers, do you reckon everybody should run out and go buy one of these Aramars? Is that what you're trying to tell everybody?
No, but what I'm saying, well, actually, if you like it, let me. God, it's like Kickstarter is like maybe $500, but I could take this, wear it for a couple of years, and when I'm done, smash it with a hammer, and still be out less money than I would with a lot of other chronographs. That's one thing. And the other thing is, if the Chinese, God, if they could just tone down the cuntiness just for like a second, people are basically saying, "Oh, the Chinese can't do good work." They can. It's just that they're even cheaper, nastier, and more vinyl than the Swiss. I think if the Chinese put their minds to it, they could probably give the Swiss a run for their money.
I don't think that's the case
when it comes to movements. But the old Venus movements, you have to keep in mind, the Venus movements are still used or their derivatives in a lot of higher end chronographs.
Yeah, I mean, the only Asian country that I've only liked seeing parts come from is Japan.
Well, yeah.
Anything from any other Asian country, it's just a shitter.
Because the Japanese have a commitment to quality. They always have.
So, if it didn't come from Japan, any other Asian product is just garbage. And everybody knows that. But anyway, look, Rolex, we're here to talk about your favorite company, Rolex, and how they are just dominating the market. As usual, I'm sure all of the non-Rolex people and the Rolex haters and all of those, how do you pronounce that word? I can't even say it. Horology, that fake word. This is the time they're all putting their tail between their legs and not coming up on the YouTube and not making videos. You know what I mean? This isn't the time for Grand Seiko flag bearers and Parmigiani flag bearers to be out of their safe space.
Oh, so this is the cattle drive, is what you're saying? Dun 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 dun. Rolex, you all want Rolex. Dun 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 dun.
Yeah, they're killing it. So, look, they spoke, and everybody listened, and nobody wants to listen from anybody else. They totally walked. Look, we never even heard about the Snoopy hype. Omega came out with one little teaser, and that was it. Haven't heard nothing else about it. A lot of the guys showed interest in it and then disinterest. I showed interest in it. I reached out and tried to grab it from an AD. I was promised. They came out
with a new Snoopy.
There you go. See, you don't even know, or you're just joking. But in October, it's coming out in October. That's the teaser that came out a few weeks ago. So there's no hype around that.
Well, there's no hype around that, but keep in mind, Rolex technically Rolex is still a 20th century company. Except for the most recent releases were because COVID forced them to. Rolex does most of its advertising in the real world. They force their ADs to put up one or two billboards by busy highways in the real world. They put their marquees and their watches, among premier golf and tennis championships in the real world.
Omega's done the same with the Bond brand, especially 007, but it hasn't worked that well for them. I do want to see the new movie though.
The
trailers look crazy amazing.
Yep.
I mean, the guy in the teaser, he's pretty much beyond being Superman in the movie, but hey, it looks like a good movie.
Well, you see, I don't know. Daniel Craig, I don't think has ever been Superman. I mean, always rough and tough, but basically, what is it? Quantum of Solace, I think, when they were kicking his balls to the chair. That's not exactly Superman.
I'll confess, I haven't seen any of those James Bond movies. Any of them.
In a lot of ways, it was almost a reset. I think Craig is. I think he's done well. That's not saying much, but I think he's definitely the best Bond since Connery.
I mean, the last one I've seen was with Brosnan. I saw one of those, and I never watched another Bond film since. So I'm really far back on those series, but I'm definitely gonna watch the one coming out. It's really good. So look at Lange came out a couple of days ago with a new Odysseus. I mean, they're just introducing strap changes.
Yeah.
That you can't alter. So
and Moser's about to introduce a new streamliner, I think.
Oh, are they really? Oh, the green one, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He was teasing it on Watchbox earlier this morning.
Okay. Now, here's my opinion of the Moser Streamliner. Let's just give it right here. I love the Moser Streamliner. I'd love to see it in person. I've done a live stream on it. Great watch. If you're not allowed to buy both dials and interchange them, I'm going to give a thumbs brand to that brand right here, right now. Don't buy that watch. Thumbs down. Don't buy that watch. If you go buy that green dial watch and they tell you you can't buy the original dial to change in and out as you please, I would never touch that watch.
What do you think Rolex does that? No.
I don't care though, honestly, because Rolex, you can buy the green bezel, the blue bezel, the red bezel, the purple bezel, and you're still not going to come out to the price of one of those Mosers. So it's okay if Rolex does it, because Rolex is the least expensive luxury watch that's made, right? But if you're going to pay, $38,000,
you need to find luxury watch.
If you're going to pay $35,000, I want a bezel change. When I know there's one there, and all you have to do is give it to me, not a bezel change, a dial change, and all I know is it's as simple as just giving it to me. So I'm going to say, if you're in the market for that Moser, kill the deal if they don't give you a second bezel, second dial. That would be me. I felt very strongly when I saw that. That's why I wanted to come out and just say it. So they're not really coming out with anything. I mean, that Streamliner was what they came out with last year, right? Or was it 2020?
Honestly, I can't remember.
I can't either. But no, that is awesome watch. I mean, the back of that watch, the sandwich movement. I mean, look, I'm not going to buy it I wouldn't buy it in the green dial, is my point. It's too much. I'd want it in the traditional conservative dial, and I'd want them to sell me the green dial, for whatever that green dial is worth. Lange, same thing. I mean, that Odysseus brand is just forget about it. You have to choose between a strap, between a rubber, now that they just introduced.
Okay, let's go with the Overseas version 3, where they give you a choice. They give you all three up front. They give you leather, they give you rubber, they give you steel, and you can change them out easily.
Hats off to Vacheron, and you can do it easily. Power to that brand. They're undervalued. That specific reference you just mentioned is undervalued. Best competition for the ones we're talking about right now. Absolutely. I'm with you. And it's a trinity. I'm with you. Do they have a rubber strap that you can change out on the Vacheron too?
I think they have like literally three choices. Yeah.
I mean, if rubber is one of the options too, then I mean that might be a watch to look at one day. Yeah, that's kind of cool. But Lange, nothing exciting coming out of the Lange house. And you know, specifically with Lange, I just want to say that they're doing nothing to prop up their brand, to reinstate value in that brand. I mean, I want to see.
Well, here's actually one of the reasons why Rolex is so popular. Okay, I think you can draw a lot of comparisons between Hans Wilsdorf and Steve Jobs.
Okay. Long term.
Both good at marketing, both understanding the market and their customers.
Right, with a possible long term mindset.
Yeah, exactly.
How do you feel that they understand their customer as opposed to Richemont Group not understanding their customer, for example? Then, what's the key element here that you're identifying? I'm missing it.
Well, and keep in mind, Wilsdorf always had a mind towards marketing as well. But what is most important to most people is something considered is almost a given now. It's almost overlooked. But durability and waterproofing, among other things. Just except for the Cellini, every freaking Rolex is an oyster perpetual, which means self-winding and relatively water resistant.
That was one of their key selling points throughout their time.
And it still is. Now, back in the day, those were considered sports watches, simply because you could, if you fell in the pool while you were drunk at the country club party, as long as your crown was screwed in, you had it serviced, you're good.
That's a good point. I think I would even say, yeah, you're right. I think even the dress watches, just because they were OPs, were considered sports watches then, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
now even a JLC wasn't water resistant, right? The Reverso,
right,
sports polo, was not water resistant, right?
Right.
So you can't play water polo.
Exactly. Now, of course, the big thing is that you flip it over, and that way, if a spare ball was flying in your face or whatever, or flying at you, or a mallet, it wouldn't completely fuck up your watch.
Gotcha.
But Rolex, compared to a lot of other brands, they're not really into complications.
Could that also be a croquet watch? Is that what they call that? Not crochet.
Well, it could be both, actually.
You know that?
Because if it would take croquet, it would also take crochet. Or if you're at a Jim Crochet concert, it would also be good for that as well.
Mm. So, yeah, I mean, I'm really disappointed that the Omega Snoopy release isn't being as hyped up as it should be. Omega's dropping the ball on that.
Well, and it's just like, let's look at Heuer, classic Heuer, renowned for their watchmaking skills. They made chronographs. They were probably the king of chronographs back in their day. They were not the kings of marketing.
Yeah, right. Well, and the 321 that Omega just released, they really dropped the ball on keeping up the momentum of that marketing, and they had it coming out the gates. People getting excited. People got excited. They needed to keep it going. The Instagrams. I mean, they started Instagramming about the constellation every day. I mean, keep going on the 321. Keep coming up on the Snoopy. Tell us the Snoopy's coming. They're right.
Right.
Are you seeing all those Constellation Instagrams coming from Omega? Are you subscribed to Omega?
I'm not even on Instagram. I hate to say it, but I'm on Facebook. I'm on YouTube. That's it. Period.
They're really harping on that Constellation lately. As a matter of fact, maybe they've come out with some new models and I don't even know. And that's why they're doing it. But that might be, you know. But, oh, that Constellation. I got to tell you, I love that watch. And I think about it still because it was so heavy. Such a great piece of gold. But
on
I was
the
in
other hand, if you really loved it, if you're really sure about it, if we would have said, sell that and get a Rolex, you would have said, suck a bag of dicks.
Yeah, you know what? I still look for it in the secondary market to see if I can buy it for 10 grand. And I just don't see it anywhere. It's so odd. I don't know why I don't see that watch anywhere. But if I can find it for 10 grand, I'd go buy it. I'd pick it up. It's worth 10 grand. Easily worth 10 grand. I mean, the weight of gold alone. So, yeah, I mean, they just kill it. I'm loving it. The momentum is in the brand. That momentum translates into the price values that are going up through the roof. That's not happening with necessarily with other brands. AP as well. But I have to admit, hasn't the hype died down a little bit? At least amongst our group, the AP hype has died down a little bit. I'm sure it'll come back. Right now, it's all Rolex because of the new releases. But
well, yeah, but you also have to keep in mind Rolex makes 1 million watches, estimated to make 1 million watches a year. They really have to stay in the public forefront to sell all those fuckers.
Yeah, and I gotta warn you all that you're gonna be, if you're not a fan of the Rolex hype, you're going to be seeing nothing but that for a while to come, because all of these watches are going to be coming off the line. People are going to be posting them, talking about them, showing them. And the thing is that Rolex came out with so many references this year. It's not going to stop. All the videos and things, So there's a lot of hype for the brand right now, and it's going to keep going. And I mean, and being objective, if I want to play both sides, devil's advocate, I can say that I really don't like the new Submariner design. I don't like the new Kermit. I don't like the new blue bezel. I don't like the new white gold blue bezel. But I really don't like any of the subs at all. And I'm a Rolex fanboy, so I'm just being fair and honest.
And you're entitled to have your opinion, but I do like the Cermet. The black and blue, or whatever, the Cookie Monster. The
blueberry. Yeah.
Well, it's black and blue, so shouldn't it be called the Dingleberry?
But right away when I saw that watch, I said that's a blueberry bezel. That's they should call that the blueberry sub now. So,
or as opposed to the Smurf. On the other hand,
has anybody called it anything yet?
I'm less enthusiastic about the OPs. I think they did something. But the Stella OPs, to me, that's almost like, that's so basic bitch. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, man, I love it. Okay, call me basic bitch then. I love it, man. Yeah, I love it. That was enough for me.
But, with the OPs, I like, to me, it was 2 generations ago when they actually were trying to put some emphasis into the dial designs. Those are the ones I like. like the Tuxedo and the Harley Davidson.
Yes.
So all the designs are basically the same. It's just different colors. Yeah.
Yeah.
And to me, that the fact that they're willing to do that also shows that they're not as sure about the OPs as anything else.
What do you mean not as sure? I think they shows that they're more confident in them than ever by going to that size.
Well, no,
putting out bold colors.
I disagree, because they pretty much, like those professional models, they pretty much have worked out what is the sweet spot, what people really want, and they can limit the variations. The fact that they have, 3 or 4 different sizes, and like how many colors, to me, that says the brand that's not sure. We're going to let the market determine for us. That's why, like Omega, for instance, Omega is probably one of the worst offenders, because for every reference they have multiple sizes, they have multiple diode colors, they have multiple complications, they have multiple metals to choose from. That's the spaghetti approach. Let's just throw everything on the wall and we'll see what sticks. There are so many less variations with, say, the Rolex Submariner, because they've actually worked on that. They've got it nailed down. They know what people want. They know what's popular. They know what'll sell. They don't have to offer the Submariner in in hot pink or sunburst yellow, because they know that reference.
Well, yeah, and also too, remember that going 41 on this watch and at $5,900 retail, man, they're gonna suck up the market, bro. They're gonna suck up dollars here from other brands on end. Other brands right now are shitting their pants.
Oh yeah.
They are wondering, what are we gonna do, because Rolex OP41 is going to take all of our market.
Well, and it's one of those things. I could see them printing those things out in mass, because it's like it's a gateway drug to Rolex.
Yeah,
because
once
people
you get that, you're going to get hooked,
and they're instantly going to be drawn. If you know nothing about watches, you're going to come in. You're going to see those things sitting in the display along with precious metal models and two-tone date justs. And you'll say, "Ooh, that looks pretty. What is that? Red? Coral red? Let me see that one."
Yeah, they killed it. They're killing it. They're going to kill it.
I think it's definitely an improvement compared to the prior last generation were just so dull.
Now, you haven't seen a Hulk, right?
I've not laid eyes on one. No.
Okay. I just was looking at Just James' comment here about the Kermit bezel. I don't know what I'm wondering what it's going to be. He says matte green. I thought it might be the same bezel as what's on my Hulk.
Well, hats off to Rolex. At least they're not saying, "Okay, we'll just keep producing the Hulk bezels and slap them on the black dial."
Yeah, I wonder. You don't think that's the case? I know the size is going to be different of the bezel, but is the color? I wonder what the color difference between the Hulk bezel is going to be to this one. That's what I want to see.
Well, has anyone posted pictures of a good picture of the new Kermit or the Servant alongside the Hulk? That's the only way I think you'll really know.
Yeah. And it still won't matter. The thing that won't matter much to Hulk owners, it's all about the dial. So whereas first Kermit owners are going to worry about their value versus this watch, although I think there's no relevance at all. There's no relation.
It says the Rolex forums have many comparison photos.
What do they look like, Dan? Similar or different?
Watch and pray. This will be the transition for the ages. Our kids will be talking about Supercase like coveted fossil.
You know, what's interesting is that apparently the case is 1 millimeter larger, but visually it looks smaller. So,
guess it's coming closer to the pre-ceramic proportions.
Yeah, I mean, it looks much smaller visually. It's not doesn't have that large block look. It looks like they stole, what's that ugly Tudor? The one that has that weird strap bracelet integration. That weird looking Tudor that came out.
Is it the one that has snowflake hands?
No, but it's that ugly ass one.
Be able to know what it is.
Design.
That has the what?
That weird case design. It just it just, they slimmed the lugs down. The P01. Yeah.
Okay.
Somebody, I see some of that in the new Rolex case where it's integrated into the bracelet. Am I crazy, Dan? Do you see that? Rov, do you see Danger? Do you guys see some of that P01 in the new sub? Or am I crazy? I saw it right away. I don't know if it's just me. And I like the block look that's away from that design.
ROV's on fire today.
P01.
Okay. Got him easily amused.
You know, I definitely like the wider lugs on the older Super case. I just feel as a diver, it's kind of, you know, like a diving bell. You want that chunk of steel feel, look. Yeah. To me, it just visually has more of a golden ratio to it when you look at it from afar. I'm very happy. Look, I'm never going to be in the market for a Submariner again because I have too many. So I'm very happy that they changed it. Couldn't have been a better play for my collection. So, I mean, if they kept producing my subs year after year after year after year, I mean, we're good.
When the collector says never, everyone else rolls their eyes, right?
What's that?
Whenever a collector says never, everyone else rolls their eyes.
Never. Yeah, I mean, it's great. I mean, if they just kept producing these forever, the same case design as that's where there's no value, I suppose, in long term. So that's great that they changed it.
Differentiation, like for instance, in like the two-tone bluesy, that's one of the reasons why that's still undervalued, is because they made it for like 20 years, and the ones before it and afterwards, you really have to seriously know what you're doing to differentiate any of them, whether it's made from, you know, in 1980, in 1988, 1998, 2008, or 2018.
Yeah, and it's been around forever, right? Anyway, too.
And most people, when they want a two-tone bluesy, they want, and I quote, a two-tone bluesy.
God, and that's another thing too. I mean, I'm just, the bluesy. I want to see what the new bluesy looks like, but I just can't believe they went away from the gold text. Again, another reason, just love the bluesy I have. Just crazy.
Well, oh yeah, and yours, yeah. I have to admit, in the diamond indices, okay.
And you know what, Mr. Smurf, the only the 30 dial has that gold frame date window. I've got it's on the screen right now.
Yeah.
That gold frame date window we figured out is only on the 30 dials. I mean, why is that? But it is. So
because it costs a little bit more. That's why.
So I don't know. Let's see what that new bluesy looks like. Let's see.
Dan Tillerman says, has anyone noticed? Okay.
And the Hulk dial, I love the Hulk dial. That's what is the best thing about it. Watch and Pray is the sunburst green dial. That's the only thing about it.
And then Dan Tillerman saying, has anyone noticed that the wider bracelet and clasp on the new series looks like shackles and not much give?
Well, that's another thing too.
I think they're trying to do that to make it look more proportionate.
Yeah, that's another thing too. Is are people going to like the wider feel of a wider bracelet? I don't know if you'll be able to tell or not, but I figure, why do you want a wider bracelet? So,
well, they did the same thing with the new iteration of the Deep Sea Dweller. They because the watch is so thick and chunky, I think the rationale is that it makes it a little bit more stable on the wrist.
Yeah. All right, guys, I'm 7 minutes over. 7 minutes over. I gotta go. That's all my back can handle, and I'm trying to cut these down. I don't know why I did the other stream. I was drinking. That's why I went for whatever I went.
Before we go, one quick question. This is a good one from Orange Hand.
Yeah.
Now, do you think they're going to keep the Explorer at 39, or you think it's going to gain a couple of millimeters?
You give your opinion on that.
Well, I hate to say it, but if they're even going to make the freaking Oyster Perpetual 41, I would. But the trouble is right now, though, the 39 the dial doesn't look as good as the 36. There's too much dead space on the dial on the current 39. I think that's going to be worse if they make it bigger, unless they do some drastic changes to that dial.
Yeah, all I can say is, Rolex, please leave us some average size watches. You don't have to make everything big. So people were talking about things going smaller, trimming the lugs, making everything smaller. They didn't expect for the lugs to be trimmed and the case to go bigger.
Of course, the conventional wisdom is that Rolex is so conservative. By the time they come to a trend, the trend is over.
Yeah. Okay. I can't. I'm fading. All it hurts. I gotta go. I can't. Okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Bye.
Dun 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 dun.